We rolling? I think we're rolling. All right, cool. What's going on, everybody? I think I only have limited time since the baby is already up. So, well, kind of. He's back to sleep now. But I just wanted to get into some of these updates I found last night and this morning about these terrorist attacks that they had in New Orleans and in Las Vegas. So the one in Las Vegas is pretty crazy. There are all kinds of crazy details coming out. Apparently, he sent an email to Sean Ryan, who's this podcaster and ex-military guy. But we'll get into that in a moment. So I just found this. This is what made me want to do the live stream. So I've been calling out New Orleans incompetence for years, and this just kind of shows more. So this one is kind of hard to listen to, especially knowing that, you know, they had tools to prevent kind of a lot of the, you know, casualties, if you will. Anyway, let's go.
We were talking about the fact that the superintendent of police in New Orleans had no idea that they had these particular barriers, and she said she didn't know anything about it. And the guy whose company created these barriers is quoted as saying that his company has been trying to get in touch with the New Orleans Police Department because they don't know, they're not deploying these barriers correctly. And no one's getting back to him. Okay, so the barriers that the superintendent of police knew nothing about, they just found them, but they don't know how to use them. Now, I want to talk about Ann Kirkpatrick for a minute or two.
Come on, are you
Ann
for real?
Kirkpatrick, who's the superintendent of police, is the one who said that, you know, she didn't know anything about the fact that the department has had these barriers since 2017. And I say to myself, why wouldn't someone say before New Year's Eve, all right, guys, what assets do we have to put in place for New Year's Eve? She didn't even ask that question. But most importantly, she wants to make sure that we're not here to place blame. Why? Because they're all at fault. Ann Kirkpatrick, who was let go from the Oakland Police Department and served in many other police departments, Tennessee, Chicago, and New Orleans. Okay, this is a woman who needs to be fired. I'm sorry. People died because of her ineptitude. And in addition to that, she's arrogant about it. Why is she doing an individual press conference? Remember, the first one was a cluster mess. All right. And now she's going out on her own. Anyone who'll talk to her, she talks to them. So she said, I had no idea we had these barriers. And I want to talk about the fact that yesterday we talked about the bollards. Bottom line with the bollards, I looked up the contract. All right, the contract for the bollards was signed in November 18th of 2024. You were really expecting those to be ready by New Year's Eve? No, you were only preparing for the Super Bowl. You didn't give a damn about New Year's Eve because the bollards were not expected to be delivered until early February.
That's why they had the yellow ones in storage.
It's storage, but she didn't know about it, so they didn't deploy them. This is ineptitude at the highest levels. And her arrogance on top of her ineptitude makes her a candidate for being fired. We were talking about the fact that the superintendent of police...
Fire her immediately. All right, so we got JD from the 504. This is his post. He's like a local independent journalist over there. I don't always agree with him on some of his takes or some of the stuff he does. Like he just did a police or a gun buyback. Anyway, I understand where he's coming from that, although I don't agree with it. So here we go. Judge Pirro says Ann Kirkpatrick should be fired based on her not knowing about the yellow Archer barriers in the police storage lot. That's well within the view of the public. Those barriers were first uncovered by Hunter Holder and Matt McBride. Pirro also states the manufacturer of these barriers has been trying to get in touch with NOPD regarding to the condition and usage of them. In addition, she mentioned that the contract for the new bollards were signed in November, but that's only in time for the Super Bowl. Exactly. That's like all that they give a shit about is like the Super Bowl, the tourism stuff, the Sugar Bowl. That's all like the governor and everybody wanted to like get back on track. It was pathetic, Let's see here. And then let's take it to the Las Vegas thing. So yesterday I was saying I thought it was very weird how they were just letting like tours go in, and then there's stuff like left behind, like there's a computer I think that was seen. So let's check this out. What are you doing, Walter? I think the dog needs to go out. I don't know. I think someone else is up with me. Oh, the baby's up. BRB. You're an asshole. Yeah. You're good. All right. Anyway, baby just needed his pacifier. All right. So here we go. This one is interesting. Like I was saying, I thought it was crazy. They're just giving tours of the house right away. So let's check this out.
I really am baffled by this. Like, what is the play here? Why would they open it up like this? I know I'm just asking the same question, but it's like,
yeah.
But I got nothing. I got nothing to go on. I don't even understand if it's a psyop, like why they would let this happen, like what the benefit is. I can't figure out the angle on this.
Yeah, Harrison, from the beginning, the FBI has been putting out the most disinformation possible. I mean, telling us that this wasn't a terror, I think an incident was the term that she used at first, or an event is what was first used by the FBI agent nose piercing. And then she moved on to saying quickly, and they released it as fast as possible, that yes, this is a terror investigation, which took for, I guess, maybe 10 minutes after she said that for them to release that information. So they've been stepping on their own toes and releasing information that's not factually correct. They also made arrests and were saying that they thought there was multiple people involved in all of this and that they were investigating multiple people, but then quickly backtracked just a couple of hours later saying no, that they think he acted alone. So they're rushing to either get information out there or they're intentionally putting out disinformation to confuse the American people and create conspiracy theorists out of all of us, because we can't trust it, right? When you sit there and you're watching a journalist who's walking around in yoga pants and a hat with like all just casually walking around a terrorist home,
Right.
you're like, what the heck is going on here? And she does incredible work, but this has me asking a lot of questions. It seems like the FBI was okay with her putting this out there, and that's the reason why they opened up this home so quickly. I mean, there's multiple electronics, like possibly hard drives on that desk. I can't 100% confirm it, but it looks like there are. So why would you leave any of that behind? And also, to put this in perspective for folks at home, I talked to a lot of J6 defendants who had their homes raided by the FBI over misdemeanor offenses, and there's people like JD Rivera, who had his electronics taken, his cameras, because he's a videographer. Still to this day, years later, 4 years later, he still hasn't received any of his electronic devices back, and the FBI is refusing to hand those over. So it doesn't make sense why a terrorist would have his electronics left in his home while a J6 defendant who was filming that day still can't get a hold of his electronics.
Well, and I remember they did things like seized a Lego set of the Capitol from one of the
Lego
J6.
Man.
So yeah, they've got a Quran that's like open with like a portion highlighted about slay the infidels or whatever. That doesn't contribute to the terrorist attack, but they're meanwhile taking the Lego sets of January 6ers to lay the groundwork for that charge. It's absurd. And of course, we just showed your
Right. None of it makes
tweet
sense.
that talks about the Nashville Manifesto. Very selective releasing of information one way or the other with the FBI. I mean, clearly they're not operating like an open book, and I could understand why they'd want to keep some information hidden. That's regular in any investigation. But like, they release a ton of stuff that's not necessary, hide a bunch of other stuff. And I'm not sure if you saw the video, but the DA of New Orleans is like, well, you know, the only solution now is we need more surveillance. We need more CCTV. We need to be more like Europe in the way that we surveil people.
Really? Because they caught that guy on camera placing his
absurd,
things. Like,
that's what they're
they need more monitors, I guess. But they
take these
they have cameras all over the city. Like, I've shown them on videos of my own of them following me,
you
know, walking home and
of our
stuff.
civil liberties. It's pretty typical, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, Harrison, and I think there's 2 points too that I want to drive home. You just cited it perfectly in regards to all of that. I also want to add the fact that the White House, a couple of weeks prior, if you look at their website, Mel K actually posted this on her X page. They were actually pushing all of this propaganda out
What's
there
up, Skeeter?
about hate
How's it
towards
going?
Muslims in this country, and they were making that the focus of attention. I believe that was posted on December 12th. She just posted those screenshots on her page, Mel K. So that's another angle from all of this. The FBI, the federal government as a whole, has been more focused on protecting Muslims than actually protecting the American people from those who have become radicalized in the Muslim community. And you probably also saw that the mosque he goes to was telling those members of the mosque not to talk to the FBI if they do reach out. So
right, that's kind of strange.
Cover-ups, and it's concerning because again, this
like,
is our federal government.
Why would they say
really
that? Are they like?
I think that I think our federal government's intentionally failing.
Breeding that mindset that made this guy do what he wanted to do.
Trying to create the narrative of confusion, and they're also trying to fail to create a terrorist attack in this country at this point because of what you just cited. They're now pushing again for us to become more of a surveillance state than we already are. They're looking to do, let's say, the Patriot Act 2.0. They are looking to step things up. And this is what they constantly do. They pull at the heartstrings of Americans who are now vulnerable because we just witnessed a horrific terrorist attack. And, you know, a lot of people are probably going to be a little bit okay with maybe we do need some more surveillance. Maybe we should let the government surveil us. But they won't tell you if this individual is on their radar, which I think is also strange. How does an individual
right? They usually say that right away.
Make IED bombs, kind of draft this all out, plan this all out, ISIS style attack, and then somehow obtains or makes an ISIS flag, and our own federal government wasn't on to him. You know, they've been checking the phones of journalists. They've been checking the phones of so many innocent people. They didn't have this guy on their radar. It's extremely strange to me. So I know it's very conspiratorial to sit here and pretend like our federal government might have intentionally allowed this to take place. But when they're spewing that type of nonsense, when it's a George Soros DA in New Orleans saying that we need more surveillance, I'm deeply concerned that they're intentionally
that is true. Jason Williams is like the worst DA there. We're trying to see it all the time with mass recall the mayor, but I think we were trying to recall the wrong person. Should have tried to recall him.
Saying we need more gun control. Joe Biden does it all the time, even though his son Hunter was able to illegally obtain a firearm, who he pardons. And they somehow, some way want to push the idea that more laws, more restrictions, less rights for you, the American people, is the only solution possible.
Right. That's what it always comes down to. Take away more freedom and you'll be more safe. But we did that in 2001 with the Patriot Act, which was supposed to stop stuff like this. So, I don't get it. This should have been stopped because of the Patriot Act. Like she said, we already have like the mass surveillance. Like, why this guy was making Facebook videos saying he was going to do awful stuff. Where were the FBI on that? I know they're all over Facebook and social media. So, come on. So is it incompetence? Is it stupidity? Is it a psyop? What's really going on? I mean, they got the yellow barriers. They don't even know how to use them. All they care in New Orleans, all they care about is the tourism, stating multiple times it was only locals that were hurt. So what does that matter? That's pretty awful. They're just trying to ease people's minds so they'll get the tourists, get the tourism money. I mean, Mardi Gras is right around the corner. I think the first parade is here soon. Here, hold on one second. I think I have a story. Let me find it. I know, buddy. Here we go. Share to computer. Tap to send. All right, Here we go. How New Orleans deadly Mardi Gras. Let me start over. A New Orleans deadly Bourbon Street attack is reshaping plans for Mardi Gras. New Orleans, home to Mardi Gras on Bourbon Street, is well accustomed to hosting large crowds, but with the carnival season set to begin on Monday, 5 days after an attacker plowed an F-150. Anyway, we know that. As they emerged, it's just like editorial. Just get to the story. To some... Okay, here we go. Oh. You don't want me to read? You don't want me to read? You need a burpo? Oh. All right. To some leaning into New Orleans' signature festive spirit, the only way forward, the tragedy marked a callback to Mardi Gras in 2006 when the city hosted Carnival in the wake of Hurricane Katrina. The minute we stop being New Orleans, the minute we stop being America, they win, said Oliver Thomas, a city council member with portions of the lower Ninth Ward of New Orleans and New Orleans East. Okay, let's see. We're absolutely discussing the possibility. Okay, more law enforcement. The Joan of Arc parade that annually marches on January 6th marks the start of the carnival season. It will be the first major public event in the French Quarter since the New Year's attack. The annual parade draws thousands of viewers who line the curbs of the neighborhood's narrow streets. The crew's co-captain, Antoinette de Alteris, said that some parade participants have bowed out of this year's procession because of the tragic event. Makes sense. You sit Mardi Gras out this year. But not many. On the other hand, she said fans of the parade have called to ask, can we help? She said that thus far, neither the NOPD nor the city has announced any changes to the parade that circulates through the streets of the riverside of the French Quarter. The crew, she said, relies on the police for security and volunteers to prevent overly enthusiastic crowd members from interfering with the procession. Hordes of law enforcement officers from federal and state and local agencies descended on New Orleans in recent days, standing watch in the French Quarter as federal agents press ahead with their probe on how Wednesday's attack was carried out. But for now, local agencies are being tight-lipped about how the attack had shifted Mardi Gras plans. A spokesperson for Mayor LaToya Cantrell's office referred questions about the preparations to the New Orleans Police Department spokesperson. The NOPD spokesperson, Reese Harper, said that NOPD will be increasing our security presence in partnership with other law enforcement agencies in the French Quarter in light of the New Year's attack. Louisiana State Police spokesman Nick Minale said the agency's planning for Mardi Gras will continue to be reviewed and adapted to ensure public safety following the New Year's attack. Harper said the NOPD would not issue more detail out of a desire to protect the integrity of our security officers. A team of ATF fire investigators and engineers, plus enforcement agents and bomb-sniffing dogs, will remain in New Orleans for the Super Bowl on February 9th and Mardi Gras Day on March 14th. ATF Special Agent in charge, Joshua Jackson, told reporters. Barry Kern, CEO of Kern Studios and Mardi Gras World, said that he had received no information from city officials, but that residents should expect to see more officers on the street. I can't imagine that you're not going to see more police in the city for the Super Bowl and Mardi Gras just because of what happened. Other measures this year, since there will be more anxiety, there will be more volunteers. So far, the city, it sounds like, is doing nothing. They're also saying, like, they don't want to say anything to protect the integrity of the security officers. I think they're not saying anything because they have not deviated from the original plan, which is pretty awful. Also, like, okay, you got the ATF there, I guess, but they're pretty incompetent. I covered a story where one of their undercover agents failed at going undercover and had to jump out like a third-story window just to escape. So it is what it is, I suppose. Is it incompetence? Is it stupidity? Is it a psyop? What is it? What is it really? Huh, Mason? We don't know. Anyway, guys, that's all for me this morning. If I got something else, I mean, there were some smaller things here or there. I think everybody has kind of seen what's up. You guys should check out. Sorry, let me just pull this last thing up. Whoops. I wanted top screen. Here we go. If you guys are on X at all, look, here we go. Here's the guy from Las Vegas. He was on a military reality TV show competition with this guy, Tim Kennedy. He's like a podcaster. Like there's new stuff, but anyway, there's this email, the email that he allegedly sent to Sean Ryan here, or not Sean Ryan, but the guy who he had on the show. So if you got some time, give that a read. I'll share it now. Quote from the stream, the live stream. That way you guys could take a look. Crazy. There's some stuff about the drones in it, so make sure you guys check that out. Anyway, it's crazy. Mason's hungry. He needs a diaper change. So y'all take care. Have a good weekend, and remember to stay well regulated. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.